don't understand simply why people all have to visit Italy by going to Rome and Venice and Florence. We always forget about the villages, but actually the countryside very often is the best part of a country, the most real, the most genuine, and this is true especially with Europe.
Ciao belli!
Hello everyone!
Ciao!
Hello everyone from Milan here in Italy, and we have a special guest today here, Mary Jane from the channel What a Shame, Mary Jane! Cool! I met her some months ago, first virtually online. I was following her channel, and then we met in real, and we decided to do this collaboration.
Mary Jane travels in a special way. She's a budget traveler, and today we are going to ask her about some hacks how you can travel so you can cut expenses on the road. But before we start, I've been always curious, why the name of the vlog?
So What a Shame, Mary Jane contains my name, Mary Jane, which is not my real name, but it's one of my most frequent nicknames. And What a Shame, Mary Jane is a quote from a Beatles song. It's an unedited song, so not many people know about it. But my friends in university used to sing me that song, so I thought it would sound good for a YouTube channel in English.
It does. It's very memorable.
Yeah, it definitely sounds good.
Mary Jane, how long it's been that you are traveling? What did you do before?
So I've been traveling since almost 2 years now. I started in March 2018, and before that it was a couple of years after my degree in university, where I didn't really know what to do in my life because I studied philosophy.
Okay.
So I have a master's degree in philosophy, which is a super cool subject. I would do it again, but obviously it doesn't give you anything concrete and practical to do in your professional life.
Why did you decide to study it?
To study philosophy?
Yeah.
It was just my passion. I studied in high school. That's a normal subject that we study in high school in Italy. And then I just liked it so much, and I felt like I really needed to go deeper in those subjects that I was studying. So I chose philosophy.
I always wonder how, or if ever, it's connected the previous job to the vlogging career of any YouTuber. What do you think? How it's in your case? You studied philosophy.
Well, yeah, in my case, I mean, obviously there's no such profession as philosopher, but philosophy is a subject that brings you to reflect a lot about your life choices, what's the purpose of living, what's the purpose of the things you do during your life, and also about your job, obviously, because it's the main content of everyone's life, basically.
Right.
So obviously philosophy led me to the life choices that I made. Without philosophy, I don't think I would be here now. I would probably work in a company and have a very stable salary every month.
Now let's talk a bit about your channel, YouTube channel. You have lots of videos about New York City and other travel tips that are from completely different area. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so I actually started my channel in New York City. That was my first destination. I just booked a one-way ticket at some point and it was my very first time outside of Europe, so I didn't know what I was doing really, but I started vlogging, and in the same month that I stayed there, I completely fell in love with the city. So I keep going back there and stay 1, 2, 3 months at a time. And I love the energy there. I love that the people are so enthusiastic, and it's so hard to live in New York City because of many reasons. And this means that if someone is living there, he really wants to be there, and he's very determined to follow, to pursue his goals. So I like this kind of energy. But also, I am a country girl.
You are from the mountains, right? Originally from the country, from the mountains region.
It's It's a mountainous, hilly region. It's called Friuli, it's in the northeast of Italy.
Okay.
And especially I come from a very small town, and that is a mark on my life. I cannot...
You keep it in your heart.
Yes, absolutely. So I always reach back to the countryside, to a rural environment, to the direct contact with nature. So I like being in big cities. I had a crush on Berlin before New York, for example, which is also another very big city. It's a capital. But I always have to go back to the country. In the end, I make both videos about if you want to travel to big cities, which are also expensive. I give you tips on how you can do it on a budget. And if you don't want to spend so much on traveling, I have plenty of content, and I plan on do more of that about countryside places. And I try to go discover non-touristy places, those hidden gems, you know, that
Nice.
are not marketed at all, and that's why they are not famous, but they are as beautiful as other super famous places.
Right. What would you say? Is it always a rule that travel in urban areas is always more expensive than countryside?
It depends really, because in the countryside you can go to very fancy hotels or resorts, and
True.
they are very expensive. And at the same time, in the city you don't necessarily have to stay in hotels and do, you know, the most famous restaurants and stuff
More
like
budget
that.
options, right?
Exactly. So I offer in my YouTube channel tons of tips about things to do in big cities, to enjoy big cities, but on a budget. So it's absolutely not true that traveling in big cities is necessarily more expensive. And I really like to show in my videos how it is possible to travel with really, really tight budget. I'm talking about $10 per day
That's
on
something.
inexpensive places. I've done that in New York. I do it in Paris, in Norway. I have a lot of content about Norway, and yeah, I like that because it's like breaking a stereotype that you
Definitely.
cannot travel to expensive countries if you are broke.
What are those tips that you would like to give to who is watching us? Let's say 3 tips on traveling on a budget.
Very practical and very briefly. First one, I would say the biggest cost of a trip is usually accommodation, and that's why I focused a lot since the very beginning of my traveling experience on cutting cost of accommodations. And for me, the best thing has been so far couch surfing, because not only for budget reasons, but I also really love to get in direct contact with locals, and I'm not a super extroverted person myself, so it's a really nice way to connect with them without having to reach out for them on the streets or something like that.
I have a curiosity about couch surfing because many people sometimes they are scared because there are some bad rumors, bad stories about couch surfing. So if you will give me a bad story that happened, if you had one, and an amazing story. Let's start with the bad one.
Yes, okay. I don't have really, really bad stories
That's
on couch
good.
surfing, yes, but I've heard of a lot of bad stories, and that's why I don't have any.
Yes.
Because I prevent them to
You
happen,
prevent the
and
risk.
also in my videos I try to prevent them to happen to other people, especially to other girls.
Okay.
I have really the worst that has happened to me on couchsurfing was that the guy was very messy and also very dirty. Like the room was very dirty, so I didn't sleep much that night.
Yeah.
But that's really the worst thing. The guy was super nice actually as a person. And the best one, oh my god, it's probably, I wouldn't say one. I don't want to give the priority to only one, but I would say in general, those experiences when you connect so well with your host that you feel like you have found a friend that you have lost somewhere in your
Wow.
past life. Like it's really incredible. Sometimes it happens, and not even that rarely, to me at least.
Yeah.
You spend maybe only 3 days with a person, and you really feel like, wow, this person understands me way better than people that have known me for 20 years.
Cool.
Then there are the middle experiences
Yeah.
where, nice, but
Maybe.
bye-bye.
Yeah.
We don't hear from each other anymore, probably.
Does couchsurfing make you more extrovert?
Yes, it helps a lot.
Yeah?
Yes, I tend to be a bit shy. I know it's strange since I have a YouTube channel, but it's true. I force myself to go out of my comfort zone, but definitely for me, when I travel alone, just starting to talk with people on the street or at the bus stop, with locals, I mean, it's very challenging. So couchsurfing is perfect for that because you contact people through email first, and that helps a lot to then actually talk with them. Second tip, I would say transportation. Make your research about transportation because there are always cheaper options. For example, there are people who, as soon as they arrive in an airport, in a destination, they take a cab.
Mm-hmm.
That's no, you don't
No.
do that.
Oh,
you make
definitely.
you make your research in advance and you discover what is the cheapest option. And not only like public or private, but also if you go on the public, maybe the train is gonna be more expensive than a bus, and maybe official airport bus is gonna be more expensive than another bus company that you can find.
Definitely.
So research, and also the transportation within the places.
Mm-hmm.
That is also very important. And for example, here in Milan, we are in Milan, and every time I come here, I use the bike system that they have. You download an app, and every bike in the city has a GPS, so you can
Okay.
localize the nearest bike next to you. You pay, I think, 50 cents, and you use the bike, and you can go everywhere.
That's cheap.
That's cheap, and it also keeps you fit, which is something that I really like. And also it allows you to look at the architecture, at the places, at the people. So I really like biking. Third tip is for sure about food, because that's a necessary cost. Tonight I'm gonna cook dinner, and we are grocery shopping now. The best tip I can give is don't think that you cannot eat the same food that you eat at home also when you travel. And I don't mean the ingredients, but I mean the fact that you cook the food. We are used to think that traditionally when you travel, you go to restaurants to eat. That's not the case with me. I don't go to restaurants, I go very rarely. And whenever I can, whenever I have a kitchen at my disposal, I will cook. And the best thing is that you can go to grocery stores, local, and get local ingredients that you would not find anywhere else, and experiment with them in the kitchen.
Mary Jane, how did you start with vlogging?
I started vlogging when I started traveling full time. Actually, the two things went together. And it was March 2018. And why I started?
Yes.
Well, I was living very stable in Rome at the time, but I kept feeling that I was missing something. And after a lot of months of thinking about my life, honestly,
As a philosopher?
See, this is a funny thing to say, but it's actually true. I realized that what I was missing was traveling, and especially traveling through couchsurfing. So I knew about couchsurfing when I was 19, I think. But I was hosting during university. I was hosting people, but I never really couch surfed, or at least not out of a small period of time when I went on vacation. But I really wanted to leverage couch surfing to travel for very long periods of time, and to stay in a country for 1, 2, 3 months and really soak all the traditions and the culture that you can know about in a country.
You managed to do it through couchsurfing?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, yes. With vlogging, the message that I wanted to deliver, and I still want to deliver, is that first of all, you should always follow your dreams and make them come true, even if they are very weird, even if the people around you think that they are stupid. Because the thing that I did people around me, but I did it anyways.
You did it anyway.
And it made me the happiest person I've ever been in my entire life, honestly. And another thing I want to communicate is that, more practical thing, you don't need a big budget to travel. So if you have the dream of traveling, you can do it.
You are a living example of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I try to give tips to people that are less experienced than me, because I also started from spending way more than I spend right now on traveling. And then I would say third message that I want to deliver with my channel is that traveling can be something that connects you deeply with the culture of a place. Is something that should make you learn something about that culture, but also your own culture, and also about yourself and the people around you. Because traveling shows you different perspectives on the same subjects that you think about every day of your life. How you consider something very, normal, like public transportation, for example. You might go to Germany and discover that public transportation can be a perfect system, or you can go to Africa and discover that there is no public transportation at all in some countries, and so on with many different things. And also my contribution to the tourism industry, my very modest contribution of course, is to try to switch the focus from very trendy touristy destination to more rural one. So I don't understand simply why people all have to visit Italy by going to Rome and Venice and Florence. Of course, they are super beautiful cities, but they became also very crowded with the recent, flows of tourism. And now I think many tourists would enjoy way more their trip if they went to other cities, especially the towns and even the villages, I would say. Because we always forget about the villages, but actually the countryside very often is the best part of a country, the most real, the most genuine, and this is true especially with Europe.
What would be, let's say, 3 YouTubers that inspired you a lot in the past and you've been following until now?
So actually, the YouTubers that convinced me to open my own channel, which is something unbelievable for me, by the way, were a couple. They are not very active anymore. They're called Mimi Icon and Alex Icon. I really, really like them. I was watching them way before I started my own channel. And if I have to name a YouTuber that really inspires me right now, I'm watching a lot of videos by Jonna Inton. She's a Swedish, she's a Swedish YouTuber.
Lot of snow.
Yeah, but what I like the most about her, and I just talked about it, is the rural kind of life, this alternative lifestyle.
And very simple.
Yes. This going back to a direct contact with nature, and at the same time living in the technology, like with the digital technology.
Right.
This is something that I like a lot. I talked about it in my master thesis in philosophy, actually. I don't like people who completely disconnect from every social media platform or every kind of technological device because they think it's bad for society and something like that, and then they just go to live in the woods, maybe alone. I mean, it's good, and if someone wants to do that, okay, but I don't think that should be the motto. Also, of course, there are many people who are completely submerged in the social media world, and they also lose contact with reality.
Which is another extreme, yeah.
Exactly, and I'm always against extremes. I think that the best answer is always in the middle way. And that's why Jonna Inton is a very good example, because she refound this lost contact with nature, and she stays in it while creating content for social media.
Right.
I respect that a lot.
Looks like year 2020 will be another booming year of new YouTubers, and I would like that you as an expert who built everything from the scratch just by inspiration of the others. What are your tips for wannabes?
Well, I'm definitely not an expert, but thank you. So I cannot give you general tips about YouTube, but I can tell you something based on my experience. So the mistakes that I made and how you can do better than I did. I started from the beginning thinking that because my goal was to make money out of YouTube. It was not something that I would just do as a hobby. Yeah, exactly. So I started immediately thinking that I had to know what the topic of my channel was about. And I had to have everything figured out from the beginning. And now I would certainly say it's not the case. I think for the first maybe 1 year you should just post videos as they come, just random things. And this I don't only say for the topic of the channel, but also for the algorithm, because times will come slowly when you really have your fixed audience and it increases and your channel goes in only one direction. And I think it's normal that at the beginning, the first months, you should just go in 100 different directions and understand what you like most and follow that. Yeah, do what you like, absolutely. And also, another tip is consistency. For me, that's key. I upload twice a week, always. Sometimes I do only once, but I always upload at least one video per week, and I think that's very important, both for the algorithm, but especially for your audience. You have to focus on building a community first. So if you don't show up for 2 weeks, you can understand that your community cannot be committed to you because you weren't committed to them in the first place.
Mary Jane, thanks a lot. Grazie mille
Thank you.
for this interview.
Thank you for having me on your channel. It was a pleasure.
We really appreciate your help, your tips for budget traveling. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to her channel. What a shame, Mary Jane. We put the link in the description. And if you like the video, thumbs up for us. And don't forget to subscribe also to our channel. Thanks a lot, guys. And see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
This was a pretty hard hike. Many hosts don't want me to film them because they are embarrassed.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm famous. Hi, YouTube.